To you.
All right, Grace, thank you. Just over 24 hours until we get our first results from our state's presidential primary.
Yeah, for the Democrats, it's down to a two-man race, and this time around, this state will have a big say in who gets the nomination. Q13's Matt Lorch joins us with a recent poll as voters fill out their ballots.
I want you to see this poll because it was taken late last week. So here's where Washington voters stood at that time. You can see Joe Biden, 47%, Bernie Sanders, 44%, so very close. This poll right here from Data for Progress, it's a progressive think tank. Voter turnout, by the way, for this primary is already at 32% with 2 days left to go. And typically we see another 50% of ballots come in during election week.
Well, I'm anticipating we're going to see probably 55 to 60% turnout by the time we certify this election, which is incredibly exciting, and it really shows that people are really interested in being part of the nominating process for the presidential race.
6 states will hold contests tomorrow. Washington is the second biggest prize following Michigan. And because we moved up our primary on the calendar, we just matter more this time around, and the nation will be watching. Last week, Secretary Wyman asked voters not to lick their ballot envelopes to help control the spread of coronavirus. Instead, asking voters to use a wet sponge or cloth to seal your ballot. Today, she said her office is also offering advice to election workers.
It's really just about trying to keep staff safe, wash your hands frequently. If you're sick, stay home, use gloves when you process ballots. All of those things that I think the public is hearing, we're just putting into action in our county workforce as well, and trying to keep people healthy so we have people to do the job.
And I have to say, with the outbreak on everyone's mind, it's good that we vote by mail. You know, in many states, the only way to have your vote counted is to actually show up at a polling place where you wait in line, surrounded by other people, something that under the circumstances many people here would not be willing to do.
I agree. I like the fact that we mail in our ballots as well. The Secretary of State, as we just heard, 50 to 60% voter turnout, which is a great turnout. But how does that compare to a general election year?
Well, go ahead and take a look. So this is voter turnout from 4 years ago. We saw 35% turnout during the primary. The general election in November saw almost 80% turnout. It's hard to get that high in a primary this time around because on one side of the ballot, on the Republican side, you only have one candidate, President Trump, so it's a foregone conclusion. Still, a majority of voters will likely be taking part in this primary. That says a whole lot about the power of switching from a caucus to a primary to decide the outcome for the Democrats. Also says a lot about moving up in the calendar and the fact that, as we've been saying, we matter.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big deal.